We are ready to party.
They're classy too, man. I can wear this on a date.
People who are most successful are the ones who don't just give up.
Top Bin 90 is proud to welcome the Olszynski Law Firm as an official sponsor. With 2 locations in Charlotte and Concord, the Olszynski Law Firm specializes in personal injuries, criminal defense, DUIs, workers' compensation, and much, much more. With over 12 years practicing law, the Olszynski Law Firm makes it a priority to treat each client with the focus and dedicated representation that they need. For a free consultation in English or in Spanish, give them a call today.
Hi, my name is Justin Olszynski, managing partner of the Olszynski Law Firm, inaugural season ticket holder. Just here to let you know that our law firm, the Olszynski Law Firm, has you covered. We cover criminal law, family law, workers' compensation, personal injury. We're here to support you in your time of need. Give us a call.
Hey, man, does your boy do wheels and that kind of stuff too?
What do you mean wheels?
You know, like if I was dying, my kids would get taken care of. Like, here's my will. This is where I want like my $20 to go.
For sure, bro. Olszynski Law Firm's got you, dog. Whatever you need,
That's
call
what's
them. Call them today. Two
not
locations.
today. They won't be there. I'll give them a holler in the morning.
For sure. Let them know Top Bin 90 sent you.
Yeah, I got you, man. I got you.
For sure. For sure. What can we say? We are back, right? Like Charlotte FC and MLS, we are back. My guys, first and foremost, I got to say congratulations to the greatest player to ever play soccer coming in to MLS and winning a cup in 10 matches.
LA never played
into
MLS.
Miami. Lionel Andres Messi. What a goat. What a tournament. We got a lot of things to talk about. You know, I'm still on my Messi hype, my Messi train. Anyways.
I should really paint these walls.
Brian, my man, how are you tonight?
Doing well, man. Doing well. Ready to talk some Charlotte FC and some LAFC. I feel like it's been a while. It's been like 2 weeks now.
Yeah, it has. It has. My man Palma, how you been?
Feeling good, man. You know, always.
Bro,
the week always feels a little bit better when it's game week. You know what I mean?
It is. It is. I'm gonna start calling you DP, bro. I just realized that those are your initials, dog. David Palma, DP, dog.
We've known him for 2 years, man. You just now.
For real. Listen,
Damn, he don't pass no attention, does he, man? Always looking for a handout. Hey,
what'd you say?
What's that?
I didn't hear you.
Nothing.
And last but not least, my man Lee from CLTFC Fan TV. How are you today, broski?
I'm good, man. Kids back in school finally, man. Got all that shit done, man. Now we're just getting in the regular routine. So, yeah, hopefully it keeps going.
For sure, for sure. Like I said, we're back, game day back. I want to recap a little bit because both of us didn't have shows last week. Lee said, I'm not having a show this week. So I was like, you know what? I won't have one either because if Lee doesn't want to have a show this week, I'm not going to have a show this week. So that's how that worked.
That's right.
But right. Let's quickly recap, right? Then let's talk a little bit about the tournament, the Leagues Cup, right? Obviously, I think Charlotte had a decent tournament. It kind of losing 4-0 to Inter Miami to me was not the way we needed to go out.
No.
And the thing too is that, like, you know, anytime we get a chance to be in the world's eyes, because I mean, obviously people want to watch Messi, right? So we're in that realm where everybody's watching it, and we just we completely fumble. We did exactly what every pundit, what everybody said we would do, happened. We got dunked on, 4 goals, and we didn't play well. You know, that's the reality. But just quickly, maybe what is something that everybody in the comment sections, what do you take from that game in specifically? And I'll also start with you, Brian.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, and I wrote an article about this, shameless plug, but like that, this is an opportunity for a lot of the young players to really shine some light on what they can do. And I felt like this was a missed opportunity for Aljamain to really put one away. And he had an opportunity to bring it back to like 2-1. So I feel like that was a missed opportunity. I did feel like Privet played decently well, but there was just, man, the I feel like a fool when Yedlin had the ball at the top of the box and a fool just didn't man mark him tight, and we let 3 runners all take their do overlapping runs and then just find the open pass in on define the defense for Charlotte FC in that game, and just sort of where mentally they were at, just seemed tired, and that leads to 4 goals.
For sure. And I mean, you know what's most annoying too? And David, I want to see if you agree with me as well. Like, it really felt like Messi wasn't he was at 50% at best, then he cranked it up a bit and scored a goal.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't even think it was because he turned it up a little bit. I felt like it was because our defense was a little bit of a lacked on the urgency of man marking and stepping to the ball. We saw a lot of ball watching, and we also what I take away from this game, we saw a lot of moments of brilliance. Well, not brilliance, but good moments from individual players, but not a solid performance overall from the team.
Yeah, I can kind of agree with that. I think honestly though, I did like that in scenarios where it felt like we'd see a regular Charlotte FC capitulation, right? We actually saw them come back, or we saw them finish off Necaxa, or we saw them you're down 1-0 in Dallas, and Ben Bender, keeps us in it. Lee, your thoughts on that Miami game?
I just think we showed them way too much respect, man. I think if we had gone out there and just tried to play our game, I think we would have been all right. The Messi goal, since that's all we seem to want to talk about nowadays around Charlotte FC, was definitely nobody was tracking with him, right? I mean, he basically just jogged about 30 yards and nobody really paid him any attention. But I think overall, I just feel like we gave Miami way too much respect, and we didn't go out to play our game, and they took advantage of it. And is the result.
For sure. And I mean, we still have to play them twice. And this is a completely new Miami, right? I mean,
yeah, but I mean, it's still that conversation, even though he come out and said about the turf. I mean, I don't know. He might not even want to play right when he comes to Charlotte. I think it's international break around that time too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Willie and I kind of went at it online a couple of weeks ago, a little bit about that. And I think my point was more about obviously Messi saying that was like a good, I don't know what it's called, like a good ring to your ears for Atlanta United and Charlotte specifically, right? Because now they don't have to worry about that, right? Regardless, now Messi's kind of put that down, right? Yeah, but I think there's still multiple scenarios, like you said. If Miami's out, why would Messi want to play that last game?
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, there's a lot of factors still that will determine whether he plays or not. Right. Obviously, we hope, I think we have to put it in context too. If they're not playing, if Charlotte's already eliminated and Miami's already eliminated, then that game's going to be worthless too.
Maybe they just postpone it. Just cancel it. Do us all a favor. Let us start our winter early, right?
It's a very realistic possibility that both teams would be eliminated also by that time.
Be interesting to see what he does when they play Atlanta.
For sure. Also, I wanted to talk to you guys, maybe your favorite moments of this Charlotte FC Cup run. And I want to hear from everybody in the comments section as well. And I'll start off with you, Lee, since you're so happy-go-lucky today.
Happy-go-lucky. It's just been a solid couple of days for me, man. I've had nothing but good news, and Jorge unblocked me on our group chat, so thanks for that, buddy. I noticed it was today when you asked me if I could be on the show, but, I wasn't going to say anything.
Listen, to be fair, I asked everybody today. I've been busy.
Yeah, I get it. No, I mean, the biggest thing that stood out to me, I think, was just Kalina, and he won me over, man. I give that guy so. I mean, I say it in jest too, right? I mean, Marks would have scored that goal after he saved it or whatever, but Kalina stood up, man. He got us through a couple of games that really needed to get us through. So
I don't know if I agree with that, because I feel like against Miami, especially that was all on him. And too, you know what? Listen,
it was way more than that moment, though, Jorge. Man, it was more than just Miami, Jorge.
After that Miami game, he pulled out his jersey and had Messi and Busquets sign it. Listen, I'm not gonna front here. If I was him, I would have probably done the same thing. But if you're looking at things from the world perspective, it makes it seem like a small club.
No, don't we beat Chelsea, man? We beat Chelsea.
I'm telling you, I would do the same thing, but there's different ways of going around it, right? There's different ways of going around it. In my opinion, that going viral just makes us look like a small club. That's just my.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
No.
The same thing happened in France.
In your eyes, it looks like we're a small club.
To everyone, to the world. If my goal is if I'm not a Charlotte fan and I am watching this as a neutral, I'm like, that's a small club.
I disagree. If anything, to the world, MLS is a small league.
I'm not saying I wouldn't do it. I'm just saying it's small club mentality.
I'm having that, Jorge. We're massive, mate.
The same thing happened in France though. When he went to PSG, for other French clubs are doing the exact same thing in Ligue 1. I don't know.
Small clubs.
I mean, it's a small league. It's a small league.
You're proving my point.
It's a farmers league, right?
You just proving my point.
I mean,
it doesn't mean Charlotte's a small club.
It's a small club mentality.
Get out of here.
Sorry.
That's it. He should have come off of his own show.
I get it, though. I get it. Listen, I get it, but I'm also gonna talk
with Messi, man. You got like take off your hat where you got Messi tattooed on your forehead right there, man.
He's had it on my heart, dog.
Is it broken?
Nah, dog. He's healed. He won a World Cup, dog. David, your favorite moment?
Come on.
Mine would have to be match day 1, coming back and winning against FC Dallas, and Ajiman stepping up, man. He proved that he can be a big time player.
Yeah, for sure. I think so too. I think one of the good things that we've seen this season is our role players and maybe our depth players really stepping up for this team, right? So I think that's been very important in terms of what we've been able to, what I would say would be salvageable about this season, right? Brian, your thoughts on what your favorite moment of the Cup was?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say the Dallas game as well, just because we had the live going on. It was like a real like down moment, throughout the live stream, and then changed on a dime with the Bender equalizer late. But then I feel like we also, I don't know if we mentioned the Houston comeback. But I mean
that was crazy. Nobody's mentioned that.
Great game, and
seems like forever ago.
So
it does feel like, but honestly, after that game, that's probably the happiest I've been all season. Like
that's a lie.
That little window of happiness Charlotte was able to provide for us in those couple of days between Charlotte playing Miami. That was probably the best moments of the season, because
that's a lie. That's a lie, Jorge. That was not the best moment of the season for you, man.
What was that?
When Messi signed and actually started playing for Miami was the best part of your season.
Honestly, though, I do want to talk about that because it was very, very cool seeing Messi so close to me, dog. We clicked eyes. He looked at me and I looked at him for 32 seconds.
And he screamed security.
George was like missile.
Yeah, that's it.
Not only that, but seeing Jorge Mas, billionaire Jorge Mas, seeing David Beckham, Luis Scaloni. I actually ran into Maxi Rodriguez too, which was kind of cool. So I tell you what, those boys in Miami are doing something now. So
that's what's up.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that was probably like my favorite, like the happiness in terms of how we felt after that game was probably the best high we've had this season. Because it's definitely been a second season of a lot of lows, in my opinion.
Whooping Atlanta was pretty fun.
Yeah. Well,
yeah, you're right. That was good too.
And it got us. I mean, we got to the quarterfinals. We have never advanced that far in a tournament before, so I think there was a couple big factors for that game.
For sure. Awesome. Let's also talk a little bit about what we've been seeing this week, and that's interest from Serie A for Karol Swiderski. He spoke to a Polish outlet recently and mentioned his desire to want to play in a top 5 league, right? His desire, and this is a conversation that I had with him once too, where like he was coming, like the team was taking a couple of days off and he had to go fly out to Poland and then come back. And he was like, I did all of that just to play 20 minutes. And so that's taken a toll on him, kind of maybe like all the traveling that he has to do, especially being in America and most of his games being in Europe. right? So, and then this week we saw that he had interest from a team from Serie A, right? Which someone mentioned it earlier. There, they asked, does he leave this window? I would say for now, no. That deal was, I don't even know how to say the name, Salnerita, I think it's called. That deal is off as of now, right? But I will not be, Swiderski will not be a Charlotte FC player next season. I can almost guarantee that, right? You know, with how everything is moving, with how Charlotte's thinking, with how Swiderski is thinking, he's not going to be a Charlotte FC player next year, right? So having said that, right, what do you guys take away from this interest from Serie A, and what would you like to see? I'll start with you, Lee.
Oh, so much to unpack there. First, I agree. I think he's gone, right? I think Jaws is going to go too, and probably Jan. But with that being said, that leaves us with Enzo. And I'm not going to hate on Enzo, but I mean, he hasn't really proven anything to me this season by any means. So, I mean, I don't know. Charlotte's just got to do better with their DPs, right? And, you know, it's time. Yeah, I think whatever profit we make out of whoever we let go, that all needs to be reinvested and then add a couple million on top of that. Like we need a player, not obviously not to the people down south sort of level, but we need somebody that's gonna come in here and light it up a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. We had a conversation a couple of weeks ago about, you know, hey, with all these new midfielders added, right? Either Enzo or Swiderski have to go, or both have to go, and we're starting to see, right? We're starting to see the pathway of what's going on. Swiderski talking to Polish outlets about, you know, his desire to go back to a European top 5 club, right? You know, hey, links coming out, right? So all the indications are that he's gone. And last year, Zoran's stance on him was like he's not going anywhere, right? Versus now that saying that what they were saying last year, the club's not having that same sentiment. So as you see, one of those that 9 role is getting cleared, right, for Enzo, right? If he's gonna be the guy, but like Lee said, in my opinion, Swiderski has done enough to be considered a DP in this squad. In my opinion, the only player who has. Yeah. Brian, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of things to take away. First, Swiderski was the first DP signed. He was signed when Mar was still the coach, so he was signed with Mar in mind at the time. He obviously wants to go back. I mean, even when he was signed, I feel like there was already reports like he was planning on eventually making a trip, like getting signed back in Europe and jumping to a top 5 like league. That seemed like his goal from when he initially signed with Charlotte FC. I feel like there was a comment about that at some point where he mentioned like there's always later when I can get to a top 5 league. That was kind of his mentality. It seemed like when he signed initially. And we talked about this a few weeks ago when the Jaime rumors were coming up, like which DP spot would open up, and the only one that really can open up, this is what I said then, was it has to be the Swiderski spot, right? I mean, he's the only one with value. They can probably maybe ship Uzviak after this season somehow, but like there's no real transfer value to him at this point, and there's none right now to Enzo Capetti probably either. So it's got to be Swiderski. Like he's the only one with any transfer value. So. This move made a decent amount of sense, especially once his comments came out as well about just, it seems like that's where his head's at as well. And he's like, he's going to have a way more pivotal role with the Polish national team. He's like, you can tell that that's something he's been eyeing in the 2026 World Cup.
For sure. Obviously now, even coming into MLS, he was still an integral part of that Polish national team, right?
Yep.
David, how do you interpret this, and how much of a miss would Karol Swiderski be to this squad?
We'll miss him because in terms of goal-wise, he's probably one of the ones that we rely on mostly for goals. And that's probably the only sense we'll actually miss him, because sometimes whenever he drops back in that number 10 position or that false 9, whatever you want to call it, sometimes he gets a bit lost and you really don't see much from Swiderski. You do see moments, but honestly, I think this is great because it's a moment for them to get some money out of somebody who's developed into a good player. We're definitely one of our DPs, but definitely need to invest it in branch out and build in other positions rather than that spot where I feel like we're over full in a couple spots. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think that, one of the things that he mentioned in that article, I felt like was kind of a dig at the club and Latanja, to be honest with you, when he said that, like, he was not really playing at the top. He's playing more of that creative role, and that, like you see in him now, like back in the 9, how much more effective he is, right? So that's one thing. The second thing, though, is what guarantees us that even if we let Swiderski go, who arguably has been our best, DP, right? Who's to say that Charlotte has not done a good job, in my opinion, of making me feel confident with the players that they bring on for these positions that are very, very key. The players that are supposed to make the difference. Who's to say that they don't take this money and then sign someone again that's not gonna fit the culture that doesn't have what we need, because they don't. Now they have a track record, and that track record is not good. Enzo hasn't lived it up, right? Kamil Yazviak, we've seen stints of him, but still not DP level. I expect more from Kerwin Vargas, who's a U22 player, right? Melo, we have no idea what's going on with him. Jordi Alcivar was a miss. A lot of these key positions, right, they're not getting right. So what's to say that next season that they will?
Yeah, I mean, money doesn't guarantee a solid player. Or, I mean, the more you spend, right, the level of player goes up, but it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to come in and do what they need to do. I mean, for instance, and I'm not busting on you, David, but Chelsea spent over like $1 billion in players, right? And nothing's happened over the last year almost, guys, right? So just because we dropped $20-30 million on a striker, it doesn't mean he's going to come in and perform, right? I mean, obviously, you would think he would, right? Just because of, I mean, not knocking MLS, but because of MLS, if you're spending that kind of money, you would hope that his ceiling level is a lot higher, right? But
having said that too, and this is where I make the argument, imagine if we signed Hazard. Hazard came to Charlotte, right, and was still a flop. Let's say it happened. Well, at least we got to see Eden Hazard, right, versus the flops that we've had in terms of some of the signings we've had now.
Liverpool,
who came here that we didn't know who they were, and then they left, and then we still don't know who they are.
Never would pull.
Huh?
I would never pull for Hazard. I would never sing his name. I would never clap and cheer if he scored. Nothing.
That's a lie.
Nothing.
Yeah.
That's a lie. If Eden Hazard ever came, you would easily learn that it's easier to hop on than it is to
No. Nope. Definitely wouldn't be there. Definitely would not pull for him.
Come on now.
We could do a lot better, man. We get like a Dele Alli or something, man. Bring him over here, help him out mentally, man, and let him take over.
No. You lost it. You done lost it, man.
Yeah. I do think going back, however, to what we're seeing from Miami, right, where, they're bringing these stars. Well, obviously not everybody's Messi, but they've done a good job of making things uncomfortable to where now, like, other teams have to step up, right? So the demand for the league to get better, right? And rightfully so. Like, we have 11, 12 games left. The last thing I want to see is the narrative change to let's finish to a good season. No.
It's going to happen.
At the beginning of the season, you said this is a playoff team and we're making playoffs. I don't care how many points are left. I don't care how many games are left. That is still the expectation. If we do not meet that expectation, then the season was a disaster. That's just the reality.
Last year, though, I mean, before the team even kicked the ball, man, they said we were a playoff team, man, with all this hype train, man. It's like,
but last season, I give them the grace of it's your first season. You got rid of a coach, right? You're kind of makeshifting things. Latanja's just making it work, and you fell just short of it. I can accept that. First season. This season, I can't.
Why even push it? That was their narrative for almost a year and a half.
No, the narrative this season was you have 2 windows now under you. You said at the beginning of the season You've been the coach. You guys have been the front office that said we want to make playoffs this season. This team is capable of making playoffs. If they do not make playoffs, that is a failure of a season. There's no other way to put it.
Fair enough.
Yep.
I'll agree because right now it's time to either start winning some games, putting some numbers up, because we can't flop on these games that we say, oh, we're gonna win, and next thing you know, boom, we tie 1-1.
Put up or shut up, man.
Exactly.
Yeah. Especially, which pisses me off, looking at St. Louis put 6 on Austin, first in the West. That is so annoying seeing
Weak league, weak
expansion team take
conference.
over MLS and us in our second season already be an irrelevant team who we've got our players going getting their signatures from Messi. That's what we're known for now versus being one of the better teams.
And Nicolas Giacchini, like their expansion draft pick, has 10 goals on the season, which is more than any player has ever, like as many as any player scored for Charlotte. Carroll hit 10 last year. So they have an expansion draft pick who's hitting as many goals as our DPs.
Speaking of that, right? What happened to our expansion draft picks? We had Joseph Mora gone. Who else was in that window? Mackenzie Gaines still here. Who else did we keep? It was
Did we keep?
Yeah.
We've done that. We pretty much flushed the whole team, or at least the start.
I'm saying from the 5 expansion draft picks that we had, the only one left is Mackenzie Gaines. And that was 18 months ago. So that just further proves that, we just haven't done a good job, right? And so I went from trusting what Charlotte is doing to now just being conservative and saying, well, let's see. Let's see what actually happens. And that's just the reality that they haven't given us something for us to say, you know what? I trust these signings. You haven't, right? That's the reality. So we signing Sergio Ramos? Hell no, we're not signing no Davis.
Why, you wouldn't cheer for him, man? If he was on this team, yeah, you would. Man. I
telling
don't
you,
want to hear it. You're
I'm
cheering,
telling
man.
you,
No,
we're not
you're cheering
gonna
for
sign
him,
him.
man.
I'm playing in reality for you.
No,
the reality is
for him. Oh, no, you're changing the tune now.
He's going to Club America.
Anton Walks, that's right. He came in the expansion draft.
Yeah.
Rest in peace.
R.I.P.
For sure. All right, let's get into it then. Charlotte FC versus LAFC preview. We are playing the second best team in the West right now behind the expansion team, St. Louis. We're playing a team, an MLS Cup winner last year, a Supporters Shield winner who's got some of the best players, arguably one of the best teams. Before Messi came to Miami, the talk of the strongest team in MLS was LAFC, right? For what they did last year, for the signings that they're making, right? And now, and this is something that we can talk about it too, Charlotte heads into a very, very, very tough end of the season, right? Where I don't care, like I just said, expectations are still playoffs. I don't care who we're playing. The expectations are still playoffs. Brian, what do you make of this game?
Yeah, I mean, even though like we have the Messi signings and all the Inter Miami signings, I would still like top to bottom, LAFC's roster for me is still the strongest in MLS. Just they have so much depth. They've built such a strong roster over the last couple of years. Their attacking pieces are just really lethal, and they're fun. It seems like LAFC, like Charlotte, kind of used the Leagues Cup to build some momentum because they were struggling up until the Leagues Cup started, and then they put up like 13 goals in 3 games. So I'm very concerned about LAFC's attack. Bawanga obviously had 6 goals in Leagues Cup. The other guy I'm really interested in, besides, Carlos Vela is the other obvious name if he's healthy and able to play. But Maciusz Bogusz, I don't know if any of y'all have seen him play. They're a young midfielder they signed at the beginning of this year. Man, I love the way he plays. Honestly, he's really great in countering moments, and some of the passes he's been connecting with Bawanga lately have been just really, really awesome. So I'm concerned about those pieces in their attack for sure, especially with how inconsistent Charlotte's defense has been.
For sure, right? I mean, a lot of indications are. I think we're excited about being back at the bank,
Yeah.
If we see the same product we saw a month ago, we're definitely not gonna leave that stadium excited, right? I mean, Lee, like Greg mentions,
Yeah, I agree with
LAFC
that.
play tomorrow, right? So that means, I mean, that's kind of an advantage that they're coming in here with a midweek game. What are you expecting from Charlotte this weekend?
I don't know, like Sean says, right? A win would boost our season mentality, man. So it's definitely going to set the tone. I feel like for the last 11 games. Um, you know, do we win? I at this point, who knows, right? I mean, we've had long enough to sit back and look over film and everything against LAFC, where the matchups are going to be at, and all that sort of stuff. So, it'd be interesting to see who the starting lineup is, right? Does Bronico start this week? I personally don't think he does. Does a new left back start? I think he probably does, right? I mean, everybody's been here long enough. There's been long enough gap since our last game to where he's not going to just continue playing that same 11. Just Crujo come back in. So that's it. Yeah, Thatcher's going to piss off a lot of people this week. I can't wait for the Facebook post, man. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. I mean, it's going to be interesting to see. Like I said, if we win or even draw, right, it's definitely going to set the tone for this season, for the rest of the season. If we lose, I think, man, it's going to be a hard ride to October.
It will, but the beauty too is, David, if we win this game, right, I think that really shoots a boost of confidence into this team heading into these next games. Because in my opinion, very few people are expecting a win. Like, all of us are just excited to be back, but being back, that will wear off once if we see a bad product on the pitch.
That's facts, man. Then hopefully we realize that what we need to do in order to win this game. Hopefully we look back from what happened last season, that atrocious 5-0 defeat that we had over in LA. We realized in the spots that we were lacking, because if you look back at the game from last season and what we lack in defense this season, it's going to be very, very easy for LAFC to expose us. So it's going to be huge if Charlotte improves in the defensive spots in order to shut down LAFC. We shut down those counterattacks because last season when we played them, they killed us over the top. So if we shut that down, I feel like we have a good chance at tying LAFC, if not winning. Because if we shut that down, we got a good chance at winning, because they're huge on the counterattack.
For sure. It's a good point. I want to address this question real quickly as well. Do we have our new guys available to all of us? Yes, it looks like Yere and both Brecht will be available this weekend. And I want to touch on that a little bit. I mean, looking at Charlotte FC's calendar, right, for the rest of the season, we've got LAFC, Orlando City, Nashville, DC, Philly, Cincy, New England, Toronto, Chicago, Inter Miami twice. We're playing a lot of good teams. We're playing
points, man.
How much of a factor can Yere and De Jagere actually be to this team to get us to a playoff, Brian?
I mean, hopefully they are a factor, right? I mean, that's the only thing. I mean, at this point, that's what it comes down to. The team has put themselves in this spot to where Latanzio was like, we need 3 signings. You got 3 signings. This is what you said you needed. These are the guys. It has to work. Like, I mean, now it's just like we said earlier, it's put up or shut up time, right? I mean, this is where it comes down to. And like, since they didn't get the performances when they could have, against Montreal, right? That was a big one, the 0-0 against Montreal, the Colorado result. So when you don't get those 3 points at home against those like beatable teams, you get stuck in these spots where now you've got 7 playoff teams in a row. I mean, but like, you put yourself in this spot. We didn't have to be in this spot, but we are, and so now it's a matter of like, that's just what you have to do. It's like this is the job.
Yeah, it is. It'll be if we lose the next 2-3, we're gonna be thinking about not these games in specifically, but the games that we could have won that we let go of. And that's a big issue. But, right, I mean, the only kind of saving grace I have right now is there's a good cup run that we could take positives of, that we can add into this season. And, like, you know what? We still haven't seen the best Brecht, right? So praying, right, that he's the guy. He took the 10 jersey. So, like, I'm going to keep saying this. If you take the number 10 jersey, my expectations is you better be a baller in this team,
I thought
right?
he was about to say Messi.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And, you know, he almost tripped up and said it too. Yeah, totally forgot.
Listen, I'm realistic. I'm not expecting a Messi in that number 10, but I'm expecting a player that's going to make a difference, that when we don't know who to look for, Brecht gets that ball and gets us back into games, right? I mean, that's essentially what Honey Mukhtar is at Nashville, right? You know, obviously we didn't see it this weekend because he was against the GOAT, but in any other match, right? If there's a player that you're counting on, it's him, right? And I really hope that we can see that in Brecht, that he becomes the guy that we can lean on, because we need somebody like that. You know, like I've mentioned before, Swiderski has been important for us, but I don't think he's a player that's going to put the team on his back, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
hopefully we need to see the difference from those signings that we've got, but also it's not only the signings we need to see the difference from. We need to see our defense come together, man. Time and time again, we've said it. The defense has been a problem. I'm gonna say it. The difference between these other teams, if we don't make playoffs, is that their defense got their shit together from the beginning of the season to now. Because now is the time where we realize between who's above us, Montreal, Chicago are the two teams above us, I believe. Those are two teams that at the beginning, their defense was trash, terrible. Now you see them getting together. You see them being – you don't see them being the best in the league, but at least putting up a fight saying, hey, you're not just going to get past us, 4-0 us, you know what I mean? So that's the difference right there.
Lee, how confident are you going into these matches? I mean, with what David mentioned, I mean, we just come out of a 4-0 loss, too, against Miami.
We forgot about that, man. I forgot about Miami.
He came in this show very happy, and now he's mad.
I know, man. Charlotte takes the life out of me, man. Look, Charlotte's going to Charlotte, right? No matter what we say, there's going to be some game that they're going to show up and do something we completely was not expecting. You know, so hopefully that's the LA game. We show up, we win, we try to get that momentum going. I mean, Nashville away is not an easy game, man, right? So, and by the way,
Nashville away is
in Nashville, let's go.
Inter Miami's not going to be easy. New England's not going to be easy.
Why is Miami the first team?
I'm mentioning teams that are doing well.
Anybody's doing well, man, except for Charlotte for the most part, man. You know, even Houston's doing all right.
Yeah.
I mean, we did good in the Leagues Cup.
Yeah. No, I mean, seriously, what do I expect out of us in the next couple of games? I don't know, man. I mean, I'd be surprised if we get 6 to 7 points the rest of the season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dang, that is
for real.
Lee is not in a good mood at all.
Oh, man. I don't see it on paper, man. There's no team on paper that, like you said, Cincinnati, right? I think we have New England again. I need to bring up the schedule, but
yeah. Nashville, we play Cincy. So here's
where do we take those points from then?
Yeah, if we look at the season, right? All right, we've got LAFC next, right? Which I don't see us winning that, right? Orlando at home, we can win that. Nashville away,
that's tight.
DC at home, we can win that.
Yep, there's that.
Philly at home, I don't know. Cincy away, I don't think so. New England away, I don't think so. Toronto at home, we can do something. Chicago away, we can do something. Miami twice, I don't know.
I mean, that's it, right? I mean, like you said, Orlando and what was the other one? Chicago, maybe?
I think Toronto,
DC at home.
Oh, DC, yeah. So there we go, right? DC and
games.
Orlando at home. I mean, but Orlando's not a given game either, man.
No, they've been good on the road this year, too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So I'm giving the team the benefit of the doubt on the games that I think they could actually do something.
I'm saying I honestly do not see more than 7 points, and there'd be six.
You know what? Looking at the schedule, that's pretty fair to say.
Yeah, and there'd be 6 draws.
That's a tough schedule we got ahead of us.
It is.
It is.
What a way to close out the season.
It'll be one of the hardest ones. Yeah, but you know what though? If we pull through and actually make it so that I'm wrong, right, in my predictions here, then we did something, man. I mean, you know. Go away to Cincinnati, beat Cincinnati, man. You know, go away to Miami, beat Miami on the last day of the season. No, they're up here on the last day, right?
Not
But
well. It was supposed to be our last game of the season, but I think now it'll be away at last game of the season for them, right?
So it will be. So this is what's going to happen, right? So if Miami plays Cincinnati and they beat Miami, then I think we play that game like
it'll be like a midweek.
We play that game October. I can't remember what day in October, but it's like 5 or 6 days before Miami visit us. So we're gonna play like Miami twice in the span of like 5 to 7 days.
MLS.
If they lose against Cincy on Wednesday, I think we play them the 29th. So it'll be very interesting to see what happens, because in reality, we can be eliminated. Both teams can be eliminated by then, right? Or both teams could need the points. If both teams need
over 14
points, that's going to make a very interesting end of the season, right? And I think with how mid a lot of teams around us have been as well, there's a possibility that we keep losing, and so does everybody else.
That's exactly what's going to happen, right? And we'll finish 12th.
There you go. Carl's got me.
October.
I never walk alone with Liverpool fans. October 14th.
Yeah, I mean, the way y'all been playing, I'd walk.
Right, and then this is a good question by Adam I want to address, right? Latanzio in or out if we miss playoffs, right? So here's what I think so far. I think Latanzio right now has lost a lot of the fan base. That's just the reality, right? Like we see it. When we just post stuff, it could be positive. People in their comment section spinning negatively towards Latanzio. That's just the feeling, right?
It's for Shard FC social media folks, man. They just get thrown
hey, dude, I know these people, like, when we're doing bad. You ever seen the meme where, like, the guy's putting the fries and the fire's coming? He just, like... That's exactly how the social team probably feels. They're like, all right, we go post.
Right? I feel bad for him.
But having said that, this is a real legitimate opportunity for him to turn it around, right? Like, show us why you are the head coach. You have 12 games, a lot against you, right? Not a lot of people are backing you. Well, this is a perfect opportunity for you to make playoffs when a lot of us aren't expecting it anymore, right? And make a deep run and win that fan base back. That's the reality. That's how soccer works. There's highs and lows. People don't want the coach one day. You do something to prove them wrong, they might want you back. Right, Brian, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I was gonna say honestly, it feels like a lot of deja vu. I feel like we were almost near the same time of year when like they lost like 5 of 6 or something like that. We were at the time like one of the only voices left saying like just give him a chance, like let's let him finish out the season. He might deserve a contract. It was like almost the exact same time, and then he showed up and he swayed a lot of people, especially after the 4-0 win against Philadelphia. I think that was like the turning of the tide for him. So like the downside is I'm kind of like, it sucks that we're in the same spot again.
It does.
We were last year, because like you felt like with the full off season, which is what we said, like give him a full off season, give him a full season, and we'll see the ship righted. So the downside is the ship hasn't been righted. We're in the same spot, almost the exact same time period of the season as last year. The thing is, he's also been here before with this squad. This squad has been in this like almost identical spot. So like, there's the positive to that is there is an experience there that comes with that of being like, we missed out on the opportunities. Like we had talked about, like I talked about before, like there was games that they missed points on, same situation last year. And then they had to get points in tough spots. The Philadelphia Union win was a tough spot to pick up points, and they got them anyway. So like, that is the one positive I would take away at this point is like, they missed opportunities to get points. Now they are up against it with tough playoff opponents coming up to have to earn points against. But they did that last year. So like, that's the one positive I would take away is like, this group has been in this situation before. Now it's just a matter of whether or not they can rise up to the occasion.
Yeah, for sure. I want to take us back to that time frame too.
Oh, half the group has been in.
Yes. I wanted to see, because there was a very tough stretch right at the end there, where like you're mentioning it, because those games were very, like they were very difficult. What happened, I think, was like there was 3 or 4 games that we could have won that we didn't,
Yep.
and then we were like, "Oh, it's over," right?
It was like the Orlando game. Remember, they lost 2-1 against Orlando. Was a big one at home.
Yeah. Then they lost.
Can't live in the past.
They lost
Chicago
2-0
Fire.
against Toronto. Remember where we were kind of in it, and then their DPs Bernardeschi, who's just a Charlotte FC. Like anytime he plays us, he's gonna score on us.
And then they blew it against Chicago Fire at home. Remember, Jordi Reyna scored in the first minute, and then it's like the one guy Casper Shapilko scores against is Charlotte, and he scored like a brace.
So near the end, we beat New York City FC 1-0 at home.
Yep.
Then we went to Chicago, last minute winner by our DP Karol Swiderski. We won that 3-2. Right? We're like, okay, we're still kind of in it, right? But we got to play Philly at home, right? The best team who's fighting for a supporter shield, right? They come to Charlotte and we clap them 4-0, right? And then against Columbus Crew, remember we started with like 17 minutes right into the game. That Kalina Howler, league's favorite goalkeeper, by the way, right? And it felt like if that game had 5 to 10 more minutes, we could have turned that around, right? I think Shiki scored in that one too.
Yeah. But I mean, like my shrink always tells me, quit living in the past. Look forward, right? Enjoy what's coming up, right?
Yes, but how do you predict the future?
But you don't.
You look at the past. That's it, bro. It always happens the same.
Right?
It always happens the same, right?
I don't know, man. I don't know. I think if we don't make the playoffs, Latanzio out. Let's just start off fresh. Let's get rid of all the original OGs. I mean, when I say Latanzio out, I mean the whole coaching staff on the first team out. Get everybody out.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Maybe keep Fuchs around. But I would just flush it. Let's just start over. Bring in a whole new sort of mentality, a whole new philosophy. The shit's not working now.
Prophet Jorge has entered the chat.
But but then what are we considering the playoffs? That knockout round in the playoffs, or
I mean, to me, if they make playoffs, then that's
playoffs or the knockout playoffs.
At this point, whatever, because we didn't get it last season.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, technically, we did.
No, we didn't. We
were in a position to be in the playoffs for last year.
I'd say it'd be a win if they can get a home game for a playoff. So whether if they get the 8th seed, that's a home game, right? If they can advance out of the the play-in game and get it out of that round, if they're like 9th, they win the play-in game on the road, and then they get a home game because it's a best of 3. If they can get a home game in that stretch, I think that's a win for this season. I think that's kind of like because 7th is hard. I mean, 7th, they're like 8 points out of 7th, aren't they? Like I feel like 7th is kind
33
of
33 to play for.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. A lot going on with this team. A lot. In terms of here's what I want. Like, I feel like all we're doing is like bashing the team, and we're not really like even.
But we are basement dweller bloggers, by the way. So what do we know?
That's a good point too. But I mean, it's true though. Like, I feel like I don't know. I feel like I've been angry all day just looking at how other teams do well. I think seeing St. Louis beat Austin the way that they did, that really triggered me.
Yeah, I felt it in your text
what
today.
was it? Weren't we promised, like, hey, we're going to, like, Zoran mentioned it, we're going to scout the world. We're not just going to look at South America. We have this big scouting network. We have an analytics team now. For what? We're 12th. We don't play well. None of us know the style, right? I think Philadelphia, I think, has like 3 scouts, and they're always looking. Right? Anyways, I'm just upset.
What are you upset about, man? You want to talk to me, man? Oh, hold on a second, Dave Brian. Jorge, what's going on, buddy?
I got my pen and paper. Go ahead.
Yeah, you all right, man? Actually, just kick back a little bit.
Nice. Brian, talk to me, bro. What are you expecting? What are you expecting from this Charlotte FC match against LAFC? Let's get back on topic.
Nobody wants to answer.
I mean, I'm just hoping for. I think the best result for this match is similar to what we saw from the Seattle game. If you can get a banger of a result with like lots of goals, and maybe that ends up being a 3-3 draw where like Charlotte FC shows some heart and stays in the game. I think that's like the key for me, like staying in the fight, staying in the game. And I think the other big piece that we've been missing a lot this season is like their possession game has been terrible, right? They just a lot of missed passes, simple passes at times have just gotten completely awry. LAFC is a tough situation for that because they're so good at pressing and so good on the counter. So possession is key. But that's why you signed 2 new midfielders, right? That's why Arfield and Brecht are here. So like this is a moment for them to step up. I think both of them start. And like this is why they were brought in, So that's kind of what I'm looking for is like, can Charlotte keep their turnovers down, actually show that they can hold on to the ball for decent stretches and stay in the fight against a top team that's now more informed because of Leagues Cup.
Yeah, you're right. What's never gonna fail is how funny this fan base is. Y'all always make me laugh. So, with that said, we'll get into some score predictions, right? I want to hear from everybody in the comment section. And I'll start off with you, Lee.
Oh, you want a prediction? Ah, shit. Wasn't ready for that, man. I was not expecting that question tonight. I'm gonna all the bitching and moaning and complaining we done about this team tonight. I'm gonna say Charlotte 2-1.
Dang. Okay.
Bang, bang, baby.
Who scores the winner? Own goal.
Swiderski gets both.
Dang.
And then it puts up his price tag, and we go ahead and do a early deal with. You can't hear me, man. Then it puts his price tag up a bit. Then we go ahead and do a pre-contract deal or a pre-deal with them before like the transfer window opens up in the winter.
With Salernitana.
And yeah.
Nice. My man David, what are you expecting?
You know me, I'm gonna back my team any day of the week. I'm gonna say I'm with Lee. I'll say we win 2-1.
Dang, Yeti Clan is confident.
Paper, man. Oh,
nice. Who scores the goals, bro?
For me, I say we get a Ashley Westwood goal, and then let's say Arfield will score. We'll get midfield goals right there.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Dang, okay, Brian.
Yeah.
It's gonna be 3-3, and Ajman is gonna score 2 off the bench to draw it even.
Big Pat. I like Big Pat, bro. This is a good point too by Ramon. You know what I'm saying? Like 6 months ago, Swiderski said he didn't want to leave Charlotte without winning something here. Now he's saying that he wants to play in a top 5 league. Obviously, I think that there has been like that relationship between front office, player, and coaching staff. There's definitely something wrong there now, right?
He's won something here, though.
Huh?
He's won something here, though.
What did you?
I mean, he won a game. He didn't specifically say what he wanted to win, right? I mean, it could be anything. You know?
Goalie wars, dude. Isaac Walker brought goalie
come
wars.
on. I mean, there's so many things this guy's won in Charlotte, man. You know? You're welcome.
Like, if it wasn't for me, Isaac Walker would have not won.
100%.
Training, dude. Drills.
Right? Yeah. Preach it, Brian. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sure.
Fair enough.
I think it'll be a thriller, a 3.
He won a match at the Plex, man. He's all over the place, man.
For real. Yeah, he was. This is a good point too. I think he was really mad when he got replaced too. But to be fair, Pat has been cooking, and someone mentioned it earlier today. His rice percentage increase on transfer market. I think was
100%.
Yeah, that's crazy, So I mean,
he's only worth $500,000, though, right?
Dang, dog. Okay, I mean, he was like the
only $500,000 league.
Man, you ain't seen me play, man. He's worth $250. $250.
Yeah.
Entry fee.
I don't know if he's his replacement per se, but I do say I like having Pat as an option, either off the bench or like a good target man, right? And if it can't be Pat, you know what? Let's go after Andy Carroll.
Oh. What the hell is wrong with you? you serious? I mean, he's English. Like, I normally stick up for English players, man, but no.
Bro, you should have seen your face.
Nah, I'm gonna have to go watch. Nah, F that, man. I'm not. If Carroll comes over here, man, that's it, man. I don't know what I do actually.
I do gotta say,
like a burnt out lamppost, man.
I do gotta say though, the Yeti clan, y'all did it better. That Pat SpongeBob Patrick call that y'all did versus Charlotte's, y'all's was better.
Y'all's
They
ideas.
didn't even give y'all credit. That's messed up.
Yeah.
Sorry, Sean. I'm coming at the marketing team.
Yeah, sorry, marketing team. Sean CFO, man, it's not a ding at you guys at all.
For sure.
If y'all want to hire your boy, let me know.
Yeah, young talent has been better than the older talent, right? But we need that older talent. We need our DPs to start playing better for us. With that said, we're gonna end the show a little bit early since
All right, man, we still got 5 minutes. I gotta catch up, man. I ain't seen y'all in a minute.
For sure. All right, we'll take a couple questions from the crowd.
Let's just do a random whatever, man. See,
all right.
This is when we need JT. We'll be like JT number 17, man.
Give us some questions, chat, and we'll answer them. Kind of a rapid style format.
Yeah, let's go.
But it is gonna be fun being back at the bank. You know,
it is.
So
it is, man.
I'm excited.
Ready to tailgate, man. I'm ready to see everybody, man. I'm ready to sing the same 5 songs over and over again, man. I'm ready.
I will say that's also one thing that, I mean, we've given the front office a lot of flack, which is, I mean, understandable in terms of like just the signings that they've made not panning out, but they have done. I mean, they have drafted well. So I mean, that's not saying that obviously that's not enough short term, but there is some hope there. I'd say long term, just because of some of the moves they've made. The super draft, they've hit on most of their super draft picks, which is most teams aren't doing that. Like most teams aren't getting that this much production from super draft picks anymore. They used to.
I mean, to that point, right? Who do we see that could come up from the legacy other than Pat, right? I mean,
Bareba.
Yeah, I mean, he's on
a loan deal.
Huge dog.
Yeah, but I mean, that's what I'm saying, right? I feel like the future seems bright enough, right? It's not dim and burnt out, right? I mean, if we look down to the legacy and know as those guys sort of mature and can sort of segue into the senior team, we got a good. I mean, the boys did all right. I mean, hell, they made the playoffs the first season.
Shout out to those boys.
Too.
Yeah. So I mean, we're getting some questions now.
All right, what do we see? What left back did we miss?
Oh, I know the answers. That one guy, and then that one fella, and then the other dude. Yeah.
So that guy with the nose, and that guy with the hair.
We missed out on a lot of players, so I don't like answering that question. Is not just a quick answer question. All I gotta say is that that I think we've hit on maybe 1 or 2 of our first targets when it comes to signings. Right?
Yeah, I mean that's got to be a tough thing, right?
Striker, winger, right? Like the top targets that we've gone after, we have not gotten. Mm-hmm. Anyways, all right. If Latanzo out at the end of the season, who would you like to see take the job? Conte.
We just keep keep the Italian thing going. Some boring ass, slow, mediocre.
Conte, hell no.
That would be great.
Actually, you know what? For the vibes, for the Miguel kind of style pressers, bring it. I can see it now. I can see it now.
And if Conte shows up, man, that's it, man. I'm done.
Just imagine Antonio Conte in the bank.
I'm gonna take a whole season
up to the crowd, bro.
Yeah.
They pull him up and celebrate.
That Portland boy might be pretty decent. What was his name?
Giovanni.
Yeah, Giovanni.
Yeah.
Let's go out and get him anyway. Screw it.
Bob Bradley's out there.
I don't know. I feel like he's past his prime.
I don't know, man.
I can't stand Bob Bradley, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because then he'd bring his son down here, man. Deal with all that shit, man. It's like that rednap era, right?
Bro, it's probably too late now, but I would love Brendan Rodgers in Charlotte, bro. Offensive style of play, right? You know,
talking about coaches,
he knows he has worked with young players before. I think that would be an ambitious move by Charlotte.
I see, but what would happen is we'll start off great, and then towards the middle of the end of the season, we'll drop off, man. And, then we'll be scrounging around because we don't want to get relegated. Oh, sorry, that was Leicester. Oh, that was Liverpool missing out on the top 4.
It
Yes.
was. It
Yeah.
was. It
So,
was.
yeah.
It was.
Let's go
Yeah,
ahead and
Leicester
bring him
missed
in.
out on top 4 twice, and they had it in the bag.
Oh, no,
I don't know if I would want Thierry Henry.
No,
I feel like he's not a good coach.
no, he's not. Terrible player, too.
Not our style of play either.
All right, now you're just disrespecting.
I'm not disrespecting.
Whoa,
That's how I
dude.
feel, Jorge.
We made an
That
attempt
would
to
be
make
much
names
better.
signing in the past windows we have.
Yeah.
We made an
Went
attempt
for
at a very
Mbappe,
big
went
name.
for Neymar, went for all those names. Bale, Beckham, all of them.
No. All right. With that said, Lee, my man, where can we find you at?
We're on all the socials at CLTFC Fan TV. Our live shows tomorrow on our YouTube channel at 9. Find us after the game Saturday outside the supporters entrance. Get your fan interviews, and we're just walking around, clowning around, having a good time, man. So come say hello. Yeah, Romeo back.
Mr. Palma, where can we find you at?
You can catch me at CLTFC Yeti Clan on Instagram and on YouTube. We make game day vlogs, so if you want to be a part of our video, catch us at the tailgate on Saturday. We're also going to be going around asking people a certain question. I'm not going to tell you what, and if you get that question right, you'll get one of these Yetis. Right?
Yeah, you know what it is? This is what I'm going to ask you. How you spell LA?
But yeah, if you want one, come see us. So just, and appreciate you letting us be on the show again.
It was an issue, John. I just want to, he asked it a couple of times, but I wanted to, for sure, David. Brian, my man, where can we find you at?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Bam Mauer Media. You can also find all my written content at topbid90.com. And actually, me and Blake are about to record a new episode of Dropping Points right after this. So that'll be out tomorrow. We do MLS Fantasy, MLS Fantasy Show, and that's Dropping Points. So check that out as well. I'm actually killing it in MLS Fantasy right now. So
Are you?
Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm playing for
I signed up
Champions
for the
League
Top
right now.
Bin Premier League Fantasy League, man. I forgot to set my team last week.
Oh, boy.
I need y'all to send notices.
We got a new
Y'all got to
Jorge,
send
dude.
trickle emails.
This guy.
Ugh.
Nah, last year I had Luis Diaz in my starting 11 for like all the season. He was injured like the whole season.
Gonna come good, I promise.
But anyways, yeah, that's going on. I think we send an update through our newsletter. We'll make a post about it too. The winner this year is gonna get a jersey from their favorite team in the Prem. So you
Hold on.
tell us
For what? Winner of what?
the
Premier League.
fantasy league.
Oh, so I should actually start playing then.
You
Yeah.
should start playing it. Actually, we're not giving any
Yeah.
Spurs jerseys.
We can get you a Thierry Henry jersey, dude.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They,
You
look,
know what? For you, if
Yeah,
you
no.
win it, Lee, I'm gonna get you a Bayern Munich Kane shirt.
I'll take it. I'll take it. I need something to wipe my ass with. Yeah.
With that said, guys, thank you so much. Great show tonight. It's good
Yeah.
to be back.
Yo,
You
man,
guys
it's
have
good
a
to be
good one. Good.